Um, Thank you all, and it's really kind of hard to follow those four incredible and articulate and just very moving women. Uh, I'm proud to know them, and their parents, and all of us should be really proud of everything they just shared. I certainly learned a lot, so I want to thank them. Also, I mean, we have a little bit of a smaller group, and as Amber said, this has been a presentation that has been evolving. I started it earlier in the week, and then I arrived here and I started chatting with people and learned so many other opportunities. This presentation, I think, was sent to Amber last night, right before the party, because it's quite different from what I originally had. There's a couple things I want, if you take one thing out of, if there's one takeaway, and there's going to be several takeaways, I hope, I just want to encourage people to be like Ryan. I'm wearing Ryan's t-shirt, and I don't know if people know Ryan Alam, but Ryan Alam is a member of our community. He doesn't, and his family haven't come to any of the conferences. He is from Northern Virginia, and I met him at Children's National in Washington, D.C. He is, I think he's 23 years old, and he has MPAN. He has spent a lot of his time in hospitals, and he's decided he wants to do stuff with that experience. And he has run efforts to bring books and toys to children's hospitals throughout the Northern Virginia area. He's spearheaded that. He also has been very upfront about the illness he faces on social media, on local media, at his school, talking about the challenges he faces with a neurodegenerative disorder. And he has done so much to build awareness in the community that the Virginia legislature just awarded him a commendation for his work in the state of Virginia. Another thing that I think is great about Ryan is when he was diagnosed, I think he was about 15 or 16, his parents walked him through everything that he was going to face, and his response was, "Mom, there's a lot of things I want to do in the world, and let's figure out how to do them." So he wrote up a bucket list of things he wanted to do. They started out kind of simple. He wanted to go shark fishing. He wanted to go to the prom. Both he got checked off. He wanted to join the football team. Couldn't do that, but he became the captain, honorary captain of the football team. Things got a little bit more adventurous. He wanted to go out west and see some of the national parks. That's he and his mother out. I don't know which park it is, but they really have tried to travel as much as they could. He wanted to see the pyramids in Egypt, and they figured out a way through a tour agency that helped people with disabilities get to Egypt. He is a real foodie, and he likes Gordon Ramsay. So he and his sister decided they wanted to meet Gordon Ramsay, and they wanted Gordon Ramsay to come to their house and cook with their mother. So they got on YouTube, they created a video, they told Gordon Ramsay what he was facing, they told Gordon Ramsay how they always liked his show, and then they pleaded with anybody who had a connection to Gordon Ramsay to get that video to him. 2 weeks later, Gordon Ramsay sent a reply video saying, "I can't come to Virginia right now, but here are 2 or 4 coupons for my restaurant, and the next time I am in the Washington, D.C. area, I'll call you up." And they met Gordon Ramsay. There's also a picture of Gordon Ramsay, not with Ryan, but in the Alam's kitchen. So he clearly did go to their house. And then it even got more adventurous. Bungee jumping, and even parachuting out of an airplane. So the other takeaways that I've learned from the Alam family and from this very remarkable 23-year-old man is this group of NBIA, whether we know them individually or know them from afar, there is camaraderie, there's compassion, and there's a lot of know-how in this group. And I learned a lot just in the last couple days to transform this presentation. So let's take advantage of each other. I hope at the end of this presentation, we can just have a discussion of everything I missed, everything I don't know here. Our family sees every opportunity of travel. That might be a work trip, a pleasure trip, a family obligation, a conference, as a jumping off point. We twice have gone to, or I have gone to Toronto twice for work. The first time I met with some of the people in the Toronto family. The second time we brought Quinn and Christine came up for one of my work trips. And we really had a fun time with some of the other BPANers. That is Quinn. I think some people might have seen this picture yesterday, but that is Quinn on Dylan Dyer's bike. We were out in Arizona about a year ago, and we called them up, and we spent a wonderful afternoon at their house, just chilling out and talking, and experimenting with equipment that they had that we didn't have, and saw how they redid their house and saw all the stuff they did to try to make their life easy. It was a great trip. Also, we kind of jump at any opportunity that comes up, and some work out, and some are epic failures, but we tried and we learned. A couple things we learned is Quinn does not like the city of Las Vegas. That was very clear. And another thing we learned is that Quinn loves roller coasters, but her father does not. So consider NBA meetups when you travel. And then I've done some work with our local therapeutic parks and recreation department. So I've learned a little bit about the ADA and parks and recreation. And the ADA actually guarantees people with mobility challenges, people with intellectual disabilities, people with sensory issues, they have the right to participate in every aspect of public life in the United States. So the Americans with Disability Act says that there must be reasonable accommodation to enable those with disabilities to engage in all aspects of public life, including public recreation. So what does that mean in practicality? It means every park in the United States is supposed to have accommodations, and that accommodations isn't just a handicapped parking spot. For children, that means they are supposed to have some sort of accessible playground equipment. Now, some places see accessibility different ways, but they're supposed to do that. For all, that means that parks, beaches, museums, gyms, viewing spots along the side of the road are supposed to be accessible with walkways for people with mobility issues to get down there. National parks and most state parks in the United States offer entry or have very reduced entry for people with disabilities. And very often, national parks, it's free. State of Virginia, it's free. There's a couple others that are not. But very often, the more challenging the accessibility there is, the more likely it's going to be free, because you might not be able to go up into the mountain, but at least you can come in and look at the mountain. And so those are the things that are there. So I work with our local parks and recreation in the therapeutic recreation program. I've done some assistance with people with disabilities, helping them participate in the community. And every parks and recreation program in the country is supposed to have classes that people with disabilities can take. And that can either mean a standalone therapeutic recreation department, which our city has. And if that doesn't exist, you have the right to ask your local parks and rec to make an accommodation and for somebody to participate in a class that exists. And that means if they need to have another assistant come to that class and help that person do a one-on-one, they have to make a good faith effort to do that. And if they refuse, they need to show that they made a good faith effort. In our county, that means they need to show that they went out to every single person on their list who has been trained to be a one-on-one, trained to be an aide, and they get parents and other people who are willing to do that. And if nobody can do it on that specific date, then they've made their good faith effort. But you can ask them, have you made that good faith effort? And in our county, they will at least try to show that you have. And then in 2010, the Americans with Disabilities Act it said that 9 recreation areas also needed to be accessible. Amusement parks, boating facilities, exercise equipment, fishing piers, golf and mini golf, play areas, swimming pools, spas, and shooting facilities. And that they needed to all have a service animal policy that allowed service animals, and policies that allowed motor-driven mobility devices. And so the ADA, it not just protects the rights, but it creates a framework that the government should be enforcing to make public places and public activities accessible. And just removing the barriers is essential. And in the law, there is no grandfathering. So somebody can't say this playground is too old, or this museum is here. Nope. They have to do something to make it accessible. And you know, we've gone up the cloisters in New York City. It's built on a huge hill. It's a 14th century monastery that was brought over to the United States 100 years ago. It clearly is not accessible, but behind it there's an office building where people work, and you drive on up and you go through the service elevator and you go on up, and that's how you get in. And they've made that, they've figured out a way to make it accessible, because they by law have to do it. So what does that mean? On public beaches, we are beach people. Every beach entrance needs to be not every beach entrance needs to be fully accessible, but there needs to be options for people with mobility to visit the beach. You know, if there are 2 entrances, one can just be a sand path, the other has to have a mat, or it has to have a walkway or a boardwalk, so people get close to the water. Many places you have beach wheelchairs, but before you go out and rent one, check to see if the place you're going, or even better yet, choose the beach or the town that offers the beach wheelchairs for free. How do you find them? I Googled it. I went to the Connecticut State Park Accessibility website. I Love New York. It's a travel website for the state of New York. It has an accessibility website. And these are some of the places that I either learned over the weekend have free beach wheelchairs. I know the East Coast better than the West Coast, but I know they have to be there on the West Coast. And you will see they are ocean beaches from the north to the south. Rhinebeck, New York, it's on the Hudson River. Now, most people don't think about the Hudson River as a place you want to swim, but up in Rhinebeck, New York, it is pretty nice. And so you can go into the river, you can go into lakes, you can go into even a pond in Connecticut that has one of those. And I want to thank the Lord family from Aiken, South Carolina. They're going to come up and talk a little bit. But this is one of the chairs that they've seen. It's the best chair I think I've ever seen that really goes in the water in Tybee Island, Georgia. So I think we might have to go there this summer. And another one in Cocoa Beach, Florida. So national and state parks. If you don't have an America the Beautiful Access Pass, I suggest you go get one right away. It's very easy to do. You can get the application off the website of the national parks. You bring it to your doctor. They sign it saying that you have a disability. Next time you go into a park, you hand the document over to the person taking your, taking the money, the fee, and they hand this back to you. You write your name on it, and you have free access for everybody in the car to that national park, any national park in the United States. State parks in the state of Virginia, all you need to do is show your handicap pass and you get into the park. So just check to see what the state regulation is, what the local regulation is, and you can just call the Park and Recreation. I mean, that's how I found out that Virginia parks, you just needed the pass. You don't need any special card. We went to the Grand Canyon last year, and the accessibility pass also provided us with this little clicker that we could go behind. We could there are service roads where if you're at the Grand Canyon, you have to take a bus from each viewing site. But if you have one of these accessibility passes, you get a little clicker that opens up all the barriers, so you can drive just like the buses, you can drive like all the service vehicles. So we saw a huge amount of that park very easily because we could get Quinn right to the place in our car with all of the equipment that we needed. Now, therapeutic recreation departments, check out to see whether your local Parks and Rec has one. This is the one from Arlington County, where we live, and they have summer camps. So, other kids go to summer camp at a school. The children with disabilities go to summer camps, and they have one-on-ones. They have lots of people with experience in how to engage with a wide variety. They have the access and inclusion. That is, if you want to take a dance course and there isn't one, you can ask to be able to take, a child can ask to be able to take that dance course, and they'll bring a one-on-one. They'll figure out how to make that possible. And they also have specific dedicated programs just for people with disabilities as well. Now, in our area, what have we tried? I mean, a lot of people have tried therapeutic horse-bathing. We've done that. We've done adaptive modern dance. Quinn kind of liked that. It was very hard, though. Adaptive gymnastics. In our area, we have family-friendly Friday nights. We go swimming, family fun houses, campgrounds. There is an ice skating event that actually takes place in the training facility of the Washington Capitals hockey team. And because it has to be accessible, we were able to push Quinn in her wheelchair on the ice, and it's the same ice that a professional hockey team plays because it has to be accessible. And then music therapy, adaptive swimming, adaptive triathlon. I led adaptive triathlon program in our town. The goal there was not to see who won, it was to make sure we had fun and make sure people could do it. And also, I've helped out with an adaptive basketball camp as well. In Washington, D.C., we take advantage of something called the Smithsonian Morning at the Museum. So once a month, a Smithsonian Museum opens early in the morning for people with disabilities. It started out specifically for autism, but I think anybody who travels with lots of equipment knows that you need a little extra time, you need less crowds, so it is open to anybody with disabilities. And it switches museum to museum every month. And these are just, I think, some of the ones that are opening up. The National Postal Museum, I think, is the next one. But this is universal. I found out over this that the museums in South Carolina have this as well. The museums in New York, I saw one in Chicago that had it. So definitely look around in your area to see if that is available. Another thing is you're in New York, look for accessible Broadway. Broadway has sensory-friendly programs. They once again are going to go see MJ, the Michael Jackson, which actually stars a BPAN sibling who plays Jermaine Jackson. So we actually really want to go to the next one to see and try to meet him. Another thing we do is we look for local places. We found that universities that have good special ed programs and good art programs very often combine them. University of Mary Washington, it's a state university in Virginia, it's about an hour from us. They do sensory-friendly performances where people it's open, the lights are on, they bring the sound down a little bit, and we've seen, I think, Alzheimer's patients there, and we've seen kids with autism, people who needed to be suctioned in the middle of the performance. That's all fine. And the other thing that's nice about this, if you go to Broadway, you're going to be paying Broadway prices. If you go to the local college, you'll be paying $10. So if it doesn't work out, you only lost $10. I'd also recommend creating our own groups. I know the Houston group gets together a lot. The Washington group and the DC Baltimore group is small but growing. There's a new family that we met yesterday, and we all just planned we're going to get together and bring the people who were not able to come to this conference from our area there. If you're coming to DC, just look us up. We'd love to have you meet with you. The $1 Million Bike Ride, if you go on up, it's actually a lot of fun, and it's really kind of an NBIA weekend. People just have fun, and whether it's afternoon or whether it is the entire weekend. One of the things, the Centers of Excellence, particularly up at CHOP, we've used that time to meet up with other families. So you have lunch breaks and you have break times. We've met people from Arizona, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Ontario. It's best if you can try to link up before, if there's a Facebook group just saying, I'm going up, is anybody coming? But one time we didn't do that, and the doctors, because of HIPAA, said they can't really help, but they did. They said, just give me a note, give me your phone number, and I'll pass it around to the other families. And if they want to contact you, they will. And of course, I got text messages from all of them saying, let's go meet for lunch. And then, consider reaching out to create your own NBI local group, or, ones that are on, virtual ones too. Now, these are a couple things, and these are other people who sent me this stuff. There's an organization called Adaptive Sports Funds, and if you click on that link, and I think this PowerPoint, hopefully we can make it available, so those will work. But they have golf, go-karting, scuba, sailing, skiing. I think Ryan did accessible bungee jumping as well. I don't know if I mentioned that. Adaptive adventures, dragon boat racing. I met a man here from Greenville the other day who actually leads a program here in Greenville for dragon boat racing. Kayaking and cycling. And then there's music and music therapy. Ryan, the young man I was talking about, he's got a very good voice, and he's struggling with that voice right now. And so he found, or his mother found, a brain choir in our local area. It's at a hospital, and it is a choir for people who have neurological differences and who maybe are recovering from a stroke or having speech difficulties, that they can still kind of continue to sing. And I think, I don't know if I think, I see Tatiana here. She's a music therapist, and she understands the science, so I'm just going to ask her if she could just quickly talk a little bit about what it is. And you can come up here if you want, or just use your voice. Okay.
Why does it work? Music is processed in the entire brain, not just in one lobe, like, motor skills and language and receptive and expressive and all of those things, which are usually are in one part of our brain where they're processed and therefore they can be expressed and used as skills. When areas of our brain are injured or damaged, we can use music to either restore those pathways or work around them to, like singing. Some of these patients that after either a stroke or traumatic brain injury have suffered damage to their brain, and a lot of them have what's called aphasia, where they lose expressive and receptive language. And there's a bunch of different types of aphasia or disorders of speech, but we can use music to work around those areas, and you will often see in these brain choirs where some people can't speak, but they can still sing. And it's amazing to see a patient who is so frustrated with their speech because they know what they want to say, it's just not coming out the right way. But we often see that they can still sing and be responsive to music, and I love to see, communities like this that are providing brain choirs. So I would totally ask in your communities about music therapy, whether that be at the hospitals. A lot of hospitals now have at least one music therapist on board, and I work with churches in my area to try and start music therapy programs for individuals and children as well. So look around, and a lot of music therapy is a growing new therapy, and it's been around for around 60 years, but it takes a lot of advocating. So if you guys as parents are asking about it and giving good feedback, it'll help us continue to bring these programs to you. So yeah.
Great, thanks. I knew she could explain it a lot better than I could, so I asked her to pitch in. And the brain choir that Ryan is in, they found it through the local hospital, is how they found it. Adaptive surfing, I know several of the BPANers have tried adaptive surfing, I think particularly in the Northeast. I don't know if out west people have done that, but you can certainly reach out to people who've tried it. There's adaptive sailing. Those are two different sailing groups. One is from Baltimore that does it early morning on Saturdays. It's free for people. You got to sign up pretty early to get on the list. Like, you basically have to sign up probably in April for the entire summer, but it runs from June, I think, through the end of September. And then the other one, Sailing Angels, I think that's from Texas. So go look for adaptive sailing if you're interested in that. Another thing, we haven't done that, but my brother has a pontoon boat. And if you have a pontoon boat or access of a pontoon boat, we just wheel Quinn right onto it and we have a blast. So if you have access to a pontoon boat or know somebody who does, that's another way to do it. Adaptive skateboarding, this is also one I just learned about this weekend. There's the Special Olympics, and I know some families are quite involved. We haven't actually done the Special Olympics, but I do know you can do them through your school, you can do them through your local parks and rec, you can connect with them. Your physical therapist and occupational therapist can help you connect, and maybe, and even there, I mentioned a couple days ago, the ARC, it's a group, it's an organization for people with intellectual disabilities. Every county or every region in the country should have one. They also can help connect you to that as well. And maybe in our discussion, if there's anybody who's done it, maybe they can tell how they've actually gotten involved. Easter Seals is another one. They have camps for people with primarily intellectual disabilities. They can be sleepaway, they can be other ones. They have, if you just look, looks like they have them in all 50 states, including Hawaii and Alaska. And they have, water sports, archery, respite as well. You can go, bring your child there. They have nurses, and the children can be doing one thing, and then the parents can be doing something else. Quinn and I once went to an Abilities Expo in Washington, D.C., and it was great. We just learned about, rock climbing, that you can do that adaptively. There was wheelchair hockey we learned about. We also learned about this organization, Ainsley's Angels, which is an organization that gives people with disabilities the thrill of running a race, a running race, a marathon, a half marathon, a 5K, a 10K. And I did not realize it. It was created by somebody from the NBA community for his daughter. So you can go look up. There are local chapters, and they have these adapted wheelchairs. And I've inquired. Haven't actually done it. Don't know if I actually could push Quinn that long. But they have volunteers. If you can't do it yourself, they have volunteers who will push the person with the mobility challenges so they can experience that fun. There is an adapted amusement park in San Antonio. We flew there a couple years ago to go to it. And you can see there's a train that has a wheelchair ramp. You can just bring your wheelchair on. The Ferris wheel was fully open. You can just bring your wheelchair on. Texas is also really hot, so they had an indoor facility. We went all the way to Texas, and Quinn's favorite activity was bouncing a basketball inside, but we still had a lot of fun. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about travel. If you don't know about the TSA Cares program, it's a program that helps people with disabilities, a wide variety of disabilities, get through TSA security. It varies, how much help you get varies from airport to airport, but you can call, you've got to call a couple days in advance. I can't remember the exact minimum. 72, thank you. You tell them where you're going, what flights you're on, where you're transiting, all this information, and they will try to help you. If they have the staff, they will very often, like I've been called, I like to wear Hawaiian shirts, as people might have noticed this weekend. And we were once in Miami, and somebody called me like, okay, what do you look like? And I was like, I'm the guy with a baseball cap and a red Hawaiian shirt pushing a person in an adaptive stroller. And she looked around and she came up to us and boom, pushed us through. Also very good if you're traveling with a lot of medical equipment, durable medical equipment, medicines, liquids that you need. This is a great service. Some places it works really great. Sadly, if you go to Dulles Airport in Washington, D.C., they're awful, this service, but others, Miami was pretty good. What's that? Yeah. What? Yeah. They're awful. on this. There is the Sunflower Lanyard program for people with invisible disabilities. You can go at Dulles Airport, at other airports, and just ask. And it's just a lanyard that has, it's green and has sunflowers. I saw one person wearing one yesterday. They had their name tag on it. And it just identifies you in the airport, identifies you in travel as somebody who might have cognitive disability, somebody who might need extra time, somebody who might be nonverbal. So the people coming through, the airline is supposed to know about this, the flight attendants are supposed to know about this, and you can just wear it while you travel. And you can pick these up for free at many airports. You can ask, usually you ask the, there's that person who volunteers at the airport, I forget what it's called, but they can go tell you where the places are. That's where I've picked them up. And another thing I've learned from a very helpful United Airlines gate agent is that your mobility equipment, you can ask that it be tagged as a wheelchair, even if it is an adapted stroller. Don't let your adaptive stroller go without a wheelchair tag on it, because it doesn't get the same amount of care. We all know that these things get broken a lot, but they are supposed to get a little bit more care. The baggage handlers are known that they have to be very careful, and this is not just a normal stroller, a normal anything. This is somebody's mobility device, and it counts as a wheelchair. So make sure that you do that. If the airline says no, just insist. Amtrak, if you live in a place where there's Amtrak has companion fares for people with disabilities. I know Quinn and I traveled up to CHOP once, and I think it cost us a total of about $50 because we paid for her ticket, which was I think was discounted, and then I got money off from mine as her companion going up. Also, if you live on the East Coast, we took the Amtrak Auto Train this year. It goes from outside of Washington, D.C., but I was surprised at how many people drove to Washington, D.C. from Pennsylvania, from Ohio, from other places. A lot of snowbirds take this when they go down to Florida, and I'm running out of time. So, but that's one great thing, and you can see we had a little accessible roomette, and Quinn's equipment was in our car. We just got the car, and she was right in her adapted seat when we got off. Foreign travel, it's possible. I would suggest reaching out to the NBIE community before you want to visit. They know the landscape. They know where the best hospitals are. They know what parts of their country might be good for somebody with disabilities to travel, what might. You also have a lot in common. Travel insurance is a good idea. Reaching out to your airlines is a good idea. Check your medicine and entry requirements and equipment requirements, because not everything can be taken everywhere around the world. Bring your disability passes and national park passes. Northern Ireland took both of us, accepted both for us. And then consider special needs cruises, tour agencies, and special needs accessibility travel agencies. And then I don't know where the Lords are. They went on a great trip. So Robert Lord here will take over the last couple minutes talking about their trip through the Caribbean on this cruise.
Hi, my name's Robert. Our youngest is Cadence. You've probably seen her, gotten hugs from her. But we like cruising, and one of our worries was just how to do it with Cadence and all of her equipment and everything. But we found another nonprofit, Autism on the Seas, and they've been around for almost 20 years, but it seems like most people haven't even heard of them. But what they do is they provide on-cruise support depending on the needs of your child, either a one-on-one or group setting. We chose the one-on-one, which was amazing. Renee from Buffalo was always with us, and Cadence generally liked her more than us most times. But on the boat, because they are shirted in a particular way, they wear their Autism on the Seas shirts, and it's for any disability, just because it's called Autism on the Seas. Cadence was there with NBIA or BPAN, and there was another kid with Down syndrome, another one with cerebral palsy, spinal bifida. The disability doesn't matter, and it's not just for youth. It's youth teens, adults, anybody with a disability, they will help. My wife and I did bring some brochures, not as many as we should have probably, but there are some brochures on the back table. But it allows us to have designated seating as a group for dining. We had our own spot in Haiti on the beach that was designated for our group. You get respite care on the boat, so you can enjoy it too, and not constantly have to just give all of your attention to one person. And it was just a very freeing feeling having this service. Cadence even got to try rock climbing. She put her foot on one peg, but the point is we had our own time slots for a lot of these events where it was just our group, and that was the closest feeling until this conference of being around people that just get it. And we made, just like here, we made a lot of connections. Our oldest made friends with another girl from Tucson, Arizona. They were inseparable the whole trip. But I just wanted to bring that up. And they do have designated cruises. They go to Disney Park in Orlando, at least. I don't know about California. But if you travel on one of theirs that they're already scheduled and booked, you get more services, but you can request their services on any cruise. And they started with Royal Caribbean, but it's also Norwegian, and I kind of highlighted the list. Celebrity, Carnival, Norwegian and Disney cruise lines. They also go Europe, pretty much anywhere in the Caribbean, Alaska, Europe, the Mediterranean, Hawaii. So it's not very limited at all.
So I'm running out of time, so we're not going to have that discussion. I hope